But it is now.
Right. Sorry about that. I forgot to put the mics on, but that's just as well because that means you've missed the naughty word that Steve said that you're not going to repeat, are you not?
No, because somebody said it on Jay Leno's channel, and I think Jay, like me, is not like me, because
Not
he's
like
worth. I think his car collection's worth $500 million.
There is a sound now, Dino Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
No, we don't want effing and jeffing on here.
No, because you don't.
You left an F-bomb in one of our videos.
Which one? Oh, was it on the end?
Yeah, right on the end. You must have been tired when you were edited.
I was. I ended up getting a bit fed up of editing it after a while. Can you imagine? It ends up it's 45 minutes long. How long do you reckon it takes to actually put that together properly?
Well, I reckon we should do a live road test.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Let's give that a go.
We'd have to be a bit more organised. Well, slightly more organised.
A lot more organised.
No. Because we could just, if we were in a car now speaking, it's only the same as what ends up getting put out in our videos anyway.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
Some of these
cars...
the
point to me editing it.
Okay. Some of these cars, let me be honest with you, we borrowed them for less than... We borrowed some of the cars for an hour and a half, and the videos are only 45 minutes long. So how can you have done like masses of editing? It doesn't make sense that.
Magic.
Back in the day, we used to spend 2 days filming something that lasted 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, so it's just gone out. Well, you'd be surprised. The thing is, because you forget everything you've said straight away, don't you?
No,
yes,
not necessarily.
You do.
Do I?
Not everything, no.
Is that why I repeat myself so often?
You do repeat yourself, and of course we don't want repetition within the video. If it's a live, it doesn't really matter too much.
Oh, if it's what?
If it's a live stream, it doesn't matter too much.
Does it not?
Not as much,
But
no.
does this not exist going forward in time?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
That's a bit worrying.
Yeah, but people don't tend to watch live streams over and over. They watch it at the time, and then once it's been watched, a few people who are particularly interested will pop along and have a look and think,
Big in the 90s was on telly yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah, I got interviewed by one of the linear broadcast organisations, and they were asking me about the brightness of headlights. So I thought, this is a great opportunity to promote Big in the 90s. And I said, well, back in the 90s, we were all going crazy for halogen beams, and they are. So here's a bit of something remotely interesting. And then I've just picked up Big in the 90s on my YouTube channel, Big in the 90s.
Oh, you really did do that?
I did.
Ah.
But
About time.
Right, how much brighter do you think LEDs are now than halogens were in the 90s in terms of times? Are they twice as bright? Are they 3 times as bright?
I'd say 75% more.
Mate.
No, not 75 times.
Times!
Right, yeah. So,
are they twice as bright?
No.
200%.
2/3 as bright.
They are 4 to 5 times as bright. Brightness is measured in lumens. People will know this.
Yeah, they do.
People will know that it's measured in lumens, but they'll also know that when they set the rules for lights, for motor vehicles, they only set the rules for the rear lights. Can you think why, Paul Wookie?
So you can be seen from behind.
It was to distinguish brake lights from rear lights. Because, of course, here in the UK, we have a red light as your backlight and a red light as your brake light. That's stupid, really, isn't it? When they were organising what the lights should indicate, why did they do that?
It's a good point. Maybe they run out of colours.
No, they didn't.
Well, yeah, because...
The cops have got blue lights.
Yeah, so if you had blue lights on the back, it'd be confusing, wouldn't it? And red is the colour of danger. And stop, yeah? So... I don't think anyone really gets confused by it.
Because they made a rule. Half as much power to the lights as to the fog lights or brake lights. But what that was going off was incandescent bulbs. People will know that as well. They'll go, never mind halogens, Berry. What about the old style incandescent bulbs?
Yeah, you can see more comments in that now.
They were regulated by how much power they drew from the battery, well, from the electrical system. And basically, the MOT, the way the MOT was done was the brake lights had to be twice as bright, or the fog lights also had to be twice as bright, if fitted, had to be twice as bright as the rear lights. Front lights, there are virtually no regulations apart from the projection of the beam. And did you know, Wookie, that misaligned headlights are the #1 reason for MOT failure now? #1.
Yeah, so the bit I don't get is...
Unless it's a Rover, in which case it's horrific rust, which is the #1 failure of the MOT.
You should try driving an MG.
Yeah, I do. Well, that's because they're old.
Yeah, the thing is, this is what always gets me when people park on the wrong side of the road with the lights on.
Yeah.
That the danger that is there because of it. You know, when it obscures your vision. And if you have someone run out at the back to cross the road, you're not going to see them until you knock.
I am listening. I can eat a biscuit and listen at the same time.
You can't listen and talk at the same time.
No, but I know what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Do you? What did I say?
You said when people park on the wrong side of the road with their lights on, it's incredibly dangerous because you can't see if there's anyone crossing the road or a child on a bicycle or whatever. Hey, get this.
Well done, Steve.
Today's statistic, this is absolutely mind-blowing. Cycling is now, according to the Office of National Statistics, the ONS, which I like. Do you know why I like the ONS?
Because you like statistics.
I do. I like the ONS because they're part of the civil service. They're not political. So they don't come out and go, oh, these fires were caused by, like, liberal people or whatever. The ONS don't indulge in that nonsense. They just say, this is what the score is. We've done the numbers. We've crunched the numbers. Today's one was, cycling is now officially more dangerous than hang gliding. Wow!
Well, how many people use hang gliding to get to work?
No, they don't. They don't do it like that.
I know.
They do it by amount of time spent doing something, how dangerous it is.
Oh,
it's like,
right.
With vehicles,
it really is then.
With vehicles, why do we go off an odometer? Why don't cars and motorbikes have an hours of use? Like everything else. If you buy a boat, if you buy a plane, if you buy a tractor, hours of use, not miles covered. Do you not think?
I don't know, really.
Well, what do you mean you don't know?
I mean, I've never thought of
imagine
that.
your commute was Ramsbottom, not far from here, to the centre of Manchester. And my mate had to do that, and it did his head in so much he changed careers because it just took forever. It's only about 15 mile from Rammy to the centre of Manchester. However, it could quite easily take you 2.5 hours. Now, you're thinking, why didn't you tell him to get a motorbike? I did, but he's an innie. He won't even go on the back of a motorbike, never mind ride one. I love him, he's my mate, but some people aren't cut out for motorcycling, and I get that. I've had two mates. The Wookie would be all right on a motorbike. I could see you on a bike in like a leather cut-off, like on a chopped hog like that, with big apes. No. Forwards on it like that.
Definitely not.
Like a true nature's child. We'd be like Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda in Easy Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Me as Peter Fonda, the good-looking, clean-cut one, look. With, like, good cheekbones and sort of, you know, a square jaw. And you as the Dennis Hopper crazy guy. Dennis Hopper always played a crazy guy, didn't he? You know what I shaved my head the other week? It's growing back it's growing back like fuzz.
You could say something else.
Not Fuzz Townsend.
No.
Thankfully. Oh, he's a biker now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on the motorcycle show. He's been riding a motorbike for about 6 months, and he's giving it that. Motorbikes. Yeah, mate. I've been riding for 45 years, and I give it that based on the evidence of those 45 years. Not like because a career opportunity presented itself, so all of a sudden I'm an expert. I'm not having a go at him. Well, it sounds like I'm having a go at him. I'm not having a go at him because he's quite large.
That's not why. You don't have a go at anyone, really, do you?
Not really.
No, you just point out one of their faults and then point out one of your own. So that's the next thing. What you should do is always have an insult sandwich. Either say something nice about the guy or then turn it back on yourself. Which one are you going to do? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quick second.
We've never done a bike on Big in the 90s, and people have asked why. Are we going to see bikes on Big in the 90s? No. 2 reasons. Big in the 90s is ostensibly a channel about cars from the 90s when I was big in the 90s on the old TG. Now, if you look on Wikipedia, amongst the many lies that are on there that were put there by a Scottish man who rode one of those cargo bikes, you've seen the cargo bikes. You've seen the people in the big cities, the vegans, in the sandals and the dungarees on the cargo bike. I could see you on one of those cargo bikes.
Are you talking about there was a dog man?
They're like, I'll ignore that. They're like an old-fashioned sit-up-a-bed bicycle with a big thing on the front where, in big cities like Manchester or London, hippie, vegan, middle-class, university-educated types put their stuff, or, bizarrely, and I think social services could get involved, their children. I've seen people, I've seen Giles pedalling through like Hackney or Didsbury in Manchester with 2 children in the front of a bicycle on like a low platform where they could be like crushed by anything, basically. Anyway, a bloke who rode one of those put a load of lies about me on Wikipedia because he was obsessed with my missus.
That one. Right, I thought you
And the thing about Wikipedia is you can't then just go on and change everything. You have to do it gradually, and gradually the lies have fallen off and all the truth about my glittering career. Except the stuff about TG, because I'll tell you when I started on TG. I was first on TG in October 1991, and technically I didn't divorce myself from the TG empire until about 2002 and a half. Now you're thinking, bollocks. Bit of a swear, not a big one. That was quite Ricky Gervais-esque, wasn't it? Bit of a swear, not a big one.
Big bollocks.
Yeah. Anyway, you're thinking rubbish. That's better. Because Jason Barlow TG and like Kate Humble TG. Yeah, remember that? In between like real TG and the Three Amigos TG, there was like a weird TG with like Julia Bradbury. They had to have somebody with Berry in the name. They got Julia Bradbury. There was that TG. When they were doing that, me and Vicky Butler Henderson, my mate, were doing Top Gear GTI, which was on what is now called Dave. And we did that for about 2.5 years with my big mate, Alan Miller, who's no longer with us. R.I.P. Alan. He was like one of the best people I've ever met in telly, despite the fact that he was Scottish. We got on me and him. He's a good lad. And we made some very cheap, I thought at the time, oh, has it come to this? I've gone from like being big in the 90s to working with a crew of 4 people. I'm only working with 4 people. And look what's happened now.
Just one.
I've just got him. Oh, look what I've got. I've only got one and it's him.
Could be worse.
What do you mean? Well, it could be a lot worse, Paul. Because I actually like you, whereas a lot of the people that I had to work with back in the day were arseholes.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting little anecdote there. Thank you very much.
There was more than an anecdote there. Why are you like acting? Are you like moderating me? I feel like I'm being managed here.
Good.
Feels a bit weird. It feels like you're trying to steer me away from some of my more eccentric preoccupations into a more...
That sounds a bit paranoid to me.
Well, you're trying to get us to do something. What is it? What would you like us to do? I can see people writing stuff here on the interweb. What are they writing?
Well,
they say Barry's put weight on or what? Paul's lost weight.
Yeah, just a bit. That's what happens.
Do people want us to talk about cars?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But we don't normally talk about cars, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do a bit, yeah. But we also talk about other things.
Well...
Like Billy Connolly.
Billy Connolly. Yeah, he had that trike, didn't he?
Yeah. There's a lot of things we do talk about that don't go into the video.
Yeah, that's because they're potentially libelous.
Yeah.
And even though
It's always you that say it.
people on the internet think that you can just say whatever the hell you like and there'll be no consequences, that is not true. Because that's why I always talk about Mr. Jeffrey Carlson. Oh, by the way, have you seen the Daily Star? Right, I was once the motoring editor of the Daily Star, and I am absolutely astonished that flipping rag is still around. I was ashamed to tell people that I worked for the Daily Star. I mean, the pay was good. The pay was mega. And here was the strange thing, Paul. I couldn't believe how a rag like that. If you read the Daily Star, don't watch Bigger Than 90s. We don't want people like you. Right? You can read the Mirror or the Sun or whatever. That's as low as we'll go. And you can read the Times and the Guardian and whatever. Because, as you know, I'm a pretentious prat. And, like, you know, we like people like that. So, but the Star, that's just, it's too low down. You won't get our jokes and you won't enjoy what we do, right? But when I did that job briefly, I was amazed that right, I'll tell you what happened. The first thing that so I'm the motoring editor of the Daily Star for briefly, right? Get a phone call from Mercedes. Hey, Steve, would you like to come to Athens to a Celine Dion concert? Swear to God. Would I like to go to Athens to a Celine Dion concert? So I said, yeah, what car are we driving? And they went, no, it's just a Mercedes corporate. Stay in a 5-star hotel, fly you over business class and watch Celine Dion concert. And I thought, I can't believe that the Mercedes, it's Mercedes in Germany asking me, do I want to do this? And I was thinking, I sort of want to go, but I haven't got time, really, because I've got to work. Plus, I don't like Celine Dion. In fact, I flipping hate Celine Dion.
So we've been just for the car and the 5-star hotel.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, but why the heck were Mercedes courting the readers of the Daily Star? Do you think their readers were going, oh, I really fancy that new CL600, Brian? You know, it's like, I don't know. It was odd. But I did find out later on that the world of the corporate junkie is an odd one. And that things that many people would spend a huge amount of money on or would never get to do, they would struggle to find people to do them. There were times that they used to ring me up and say, have you got a couple of mates that like football? Because they literally had an empty corporate box for a fixture at either of the two Manchester football teams. And the last thing that they wanted was for the other corporate box people to go, oh, look at, name of car company that you might associate with the city of Manchester. Look at those people over there. There's no one in their box. Ha ha, they haven't got any mates, like Billy No Mates. So I would fill the box with like Bury lads. And we'd be there like quaffing the old corporate. I'd go, yeah, I can get some mates, just ring round. Take 3 or 4 mates along. I always made sure it was the more well-spoken ones. You know what I mean?
What, from Bury?
Well, I'm from Bury.
Yeah.
Victoria Wood was from Bury. And there's another very well-spoken Top Gear presenter, also from Bury. Not just me. No, Bury's produced 2 Top Gear presenters, nearly 3, but 2. 3, because...
Are we going to guess who it is then?
Well, we know who it is. Chris Goffey. Look at Wikipedia. Chris Goffey, place of birth, Bury, Lancashire.
Yeah, you told me that before, actually.
Yeah, but apparently they didn't stay there long. They moved to Oxford. Yeah. Paul's making a brew in the background.
Yeah, well, I'll make you one, but you've still got half of it left.
Well, the thing is, I have to talk, because these people are here. All they want to do is listen to me just talk endlessly. They're not interested in anything that you might have to say. That's not true. Have you all noticed that Paul's much more in the videos? When we started doing this, we thought that it was just going to be me, and Paul was just going to film it and edit it. But then he just sort of came more into it. Like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld, except less likable.
How have I managed to do that?
You're more of a Kramer to my Jerry, really, aren't you?
Good.
Although a lot of people think that I was, what was the little paranoid George? I was going to say the little paranoid Greek gentleman. I've got a little Greek friend called George, but he's not fat, in case he's watching. George.
One of the questions that we were asked, I can only remember two of them, but one of them was, do you talk in your sleep?
Right, so here's the thing. Some people have said, oh, you don't have to talk a lot. Yeah, because we're broadcasting. I hosted the longest radio show in the UK, the overnight phoning show on TalkSport, 3 times a week for 2 years. That show starts at midnight and ends at 6 a.m. And it's not a music show, it's a talk show. There is only talking. Me talking for 6 hours, 3 times a week, and I did it for 2 years. And one of the reasons, and do you know what?
Did you find it difficult to actually keep that up?
No, because it was a phoning show, but it was a bit awkward dealing with all the lunatics and bigots and basic psychos that would ring up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the problem for me was that I'd inherited a listenership who were all bad from being on the radio. So I'd have loads of phone calls. I had 16. I had a screen, so I had a microphone here and I had a screen to my right here, and I could touch the screen and connect to a caller. However, people who were bad because they'd said nasty, horrible things about women, people of colour, homosexual people, trans people, anyone who wasn't like them, horrible scumbags, bigots, right? They were bad from being on the radio. And sometimes I'd look at the screen and all 16 people had a big red X through the thing, and it wouldn't allow me to take the call. So in case you wondered about why has talk radio got a lot tamer than it used to be, because the stations have barred every lunatic in Britain who still ring up every night because they don't tell them they're barred. And what the person on there will say, oh yeah, we're very busy with your calls tonight, but do keep calling 0345. What they mean is, please keep calling so that you knock the nutters, the bad nut jobs off my screen, because I can't take a call because it's full of bad people. So if you call and knock them off, I can actually take your call. So yeah, no, I live on my own, and when I'm at home, generally I like to listen to ambient music by people like Boards of Canada, Brian Eno, people like that, and I like a quiet, calm environment. But when I'm broadcasting, I tend to express an opinion or give some insight or some information on the topic that we're meant to be discussing.
That's interesting, because whilst you're alone, you don't do any talking then.
Why would I do that? I'm not a nutter.
But I do. I talk more when I'm alone than what I do when I'm with you.
Wow. Hold on, I'll just stand over here. Because we've got like sharp things in here that you could
Yeah, I'm not going to try that again.
No, I don't really talk to myself. Yeah, I mean...
You don't wake yourself up talking then? No. What about snoring? Do you ever wake yourself up snoring?
No, I don't snore.
Do you not?
No. Snoring is one of the symptoms of being unhealthy. And I'm obese. And I am neither of those things, despite being a 60-year-old British man from the northwest of England.
Most
people have decided... Paul's on a health and fitness thing. It's great. He's lost... How much have you lost? Half a stone?
About half a stone, yeah.
We were discussing weights and measurements in the pub the other day. That's the great thing about proper pubs, isn't it? The New Oxford I shouldn't have said that. Now people will come in. I'm not telling you where it is. You know where it is. It's in Salford. And people have conversations. And there were a disparate group of people who didn't come in together, about 5 or 6 people, me included, all having a big old heated debate about weights and measures, or whether the Imperial system, which we seem to have persisted with, despite the fact that I was taught the metric system at school. First year in British schools that we were taught the metric system. 1971 it started. I started primary school. and we got taught the metric system. We did not get taught pounds, miles, gallons, furlongs. Furlongs.
Furlongs.
What do they measure the depth of water in? Feet. Why? Right. So why is the depth of water? This was one that came up. Why is the depth of water in feet, but the speed of a boat is in
knots?
Knots. Why? I know. They explain it on one of the greatest films ever made, Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World, with Russell Crowe as Lucky Jack, the captain of the Surprise. One of the greatest films ever made. And they explain about knots, how they put a rope in the water that's got knots in it. It was also on QI, but there was a better explanation on Master and Commander, which I watched again, which I've probably seen that. Which film have you seen the most? And has it got cars in it? I'm trying to bring it back to cars.
I think it could be Naked.
Oh, right. Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an incredibly bleak film.
I love that film.
Is that the one that's David?
Yeah, he's in it.
David.
As the anti-hero.
Yeah.
I just found it a fascinating film.
Mike Lee? Wow.
Or Koyani Squatsy.
Bloody hell, that's another one about like climate disaster, isn't
Yeah.
it? The one I've seen the most is probably Waterloo, with Christopher Plummer as the Iron Duke and Rod Steiger as the little corporal, the little upstart corporal who tried to take on Great Britain, and he came unstuck, didn't he? Well, he should have burnt Berlin, as he says in that film.
With a soundtrack by ABBA. By the way, we should say hello to people.
No, there was not a soundtrack.
I know. Hello, everyone. This is Steve Berry's Big in the 90s second live stream.
Yeah,
You forgot to do that bit.
because we didn't realise that people would... Initially, we didn't realise that people would treat their 90s cars as classics. We thought they'd just be smoking about in them, and we could just borrow them. But when we rang people up this last week, gone and said, can we come and do that car that you said we could come round and do it any time? Just tell me. They all went, no, mate. I mean, we have had ridiculous weather, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we just thought, let's not annoy people. Too late for that, you might say. Let's not annoy people by trying to borrow the car now, because we've got loads of great cars promised to us. Let's wait until the weather is better, and then we'll get those cars. But we will definitely have a video for you next week. It was just, but interestingly, I think, why did we think that people wouldn't think of 90s cars as classics? Because I didn't. I thought they'd just be using them.
Well, I kind of thought it was in between, really.
Yeah, because when you think about it, if I actually think about it, which I didn't really, obviously, we're as far from the 90s as the 90s was from the 60s. So it's not that odd that people would think that even regular 90s cars is sort of a cherished classic, because people would think, wouldn't they, Paul, that an old Wolseley or an old Cortina from the 60s is a classic.
Well, the thing is, a 20-year-old car is going to be about as cheap as you get. So why would you have one that's older, unless you like it?
Yeah, you're quite right. Probably the cheapest cars available right now are between 20 and 25 years old, aren't they?
I'd say a bit younger
And
than
then
that, really.
if you go, yeah, maybe a bit younger, maybe sort of 15 to 20, something like that.
I'm going to say 18 to 21.
Right, okay. He's going to be very specific when it comes to numbers, isn't he?
That's just what I think.
I put the kettle on again.
Right.
We're not going to rock this, oh, we like cups of tea, like everybody else who's on the internet and does motoring.
And then don't drink it.
Let's have a lovely cup of tea. And then there's no tea in the mug. I can tell. The way they swing the cup about, there's no bloody tea in it. You're just pretending because it makes you seem relatable. Look where we are. Relatable. Yeah.
To some.
To some. Sorry about the shouting. But I do get annoyed. Let's talk about that. Who I get annoyed by on YouTube who does car stuff.
Go on, be careful though.
Everybody. Why should we be careful? I don't think there's anyone out there that could take the pair of us if it came to it.
Would you take the... What, you would have a fight?
Yeah. If it got a bit tasty, you know. I mean, if we knocked Brewer over, could he get up again? You know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you are a bit strong feeling, actually.
Joking. Strong as a bloody bear, mate. Yeah, so...
Right,
no,
talk.
everyone else can do what they want, but I was moderately horrified. I mean, the stuff that's on telly now is crap. It's all crap. All of it. Especially the thing up, what's-her-face. They drag the story out forever. And there's always some woman sat with a brew and a biscuit going, if my dad could see his old car now, it's the same thing over and over again.
That?
I'm not saying specifically.
Right, yeah, we can't do that, can we?
The one where everybody wears fleece all the time,
Really?
regardless of the prevailing weather conditions. Not like me. I got this in Hoxton from a boutique. Yeah, in Hoxton. And like somebody says to me, oh, it's all coming unravelled. And I went, that's deliberate. It's unstructured. It's there by design.
Unravelled?
I am coming unravelled though, but just my jacket's not coming unravelled, but I am.
Hey, do you know what we should try
with him? What should we try?
We should, on another live stream at some point, which is going to happen, obviously, we should do some of our sketches.
Right, people have asked me about the sketches. Why'd you do those like Ron Cohen, like the bit at the beginning? Well, because the point of being in the 90s is to evoke old Top Gear from before the Three Amigos, not the transitional one with James. James May was in the weirdy transitional one with Julia Bradbury and Kate Humble as the main presenter. Kate Humble. Even she said in the Radio Times, I don't know if I'm going to be any good at this. Well, guess what? You weren't. Rubbish. Right, I'll tell you a quick story about how telly works, or how old school television works, right? And why sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, you're watching it and you think, how did this crap ever get on the telly? I'll tell you how it works. Quick story. I did the Top Gear radio show on Radio 5 with my mate, still my mate, Mark, my producer. Come on, Paul.
My producer.
Mark, my mate. And we used to drive around doing car related stuff, and it went out on 5 Live before Adrian Charles, which is why I once saw Adrian Charles on the street in Manchester, and I pulled over to give him a lift. And he was like, bloody hell, Steve Berry. I went, you go to the BBC? He went, yeah. I said, get in. He was going, you used to stand over to me every Saturday. I said, yeah. And we never met. And then I said, well, I saw you on the street, and I thought, there's Adrian Charles. Nice guy. Good. Say no more. Anyway, me and Mark used to chat, and we had an idea. We thought, let's do a comedy radio phone-in about cars. So we sent it to the BBC in London, and they said, straight away, this is brilliant. So they said, what is, I said, people ring in, and we roast. This was 30 years ago. We didn't say that then. I don't know why people say it now. We're not Americans. I'm from Bury. He's from Rochdale via somewhere else. But anyway, people call in and go, my car won't go in reverse. What do you suggest? Buy a house with a circular driveway. You know, that sort of stuff, right? They went, this is brilliant. Come and see us. Come to London. Come to the big BBC glittering building and have a meeting where we have a trolley with food on it, and it's in a fantastic room with like wooden walls and all that, and we all feel important. So me and him went down there on the train, feeling all excited, went into a room, and there were all these shiny-faced BBC people, like in that W1 programme where the guy's got a folding bike, like that guy. Went in a room like that with all those people who all went to Oxbridge and did PPE. Yeah, they did PPE like politicians do. They're all sat in a room and they went, well, what a marvellous idea this is. And we were so pleased to receive it. And we just have, and they always hand over to somebody else to give you the bad word. Have you noticed that? They like introduce the idea of the bad word, and then they hand over to somebody else. Let me hand over to my colleague Tarquin now, who has a couple of suggestions. So bear in mind, we've suggested a radio forwarding show about cars that's a comedy radio forwarding show. So there is some genuine car advice, and there is also some comedy. A bit like what me and him do. They went, we love the idea. We think you'd make a great presenter, Steve. It's just the subject matter. Guess what happened then, Paul? That person handed over to somebody else. We'd started with one bloke, gone to another, and he throws it to a woman who sat up on the other side of the table. She pipes up. Yes, we thought, and just go with us here, we thought, instead of cars, why not vegetables?
Vegetables.
I swear to God this happened. Now you're thinking, oh, a bit of Billy bullshit, Berry. That's easy for you to say, Paul.
It is normally.
That show existed. Look it up. They actually went and did it. And it was called, our show was going to be called Car Talk. That was the working title. It was called Veg Talk. It was on Radio 4. I think it lasted one series. And it got voted by Gillian Reynolds of the Daily Telegraph, who was like the doyenne of radio criticism in the UK. Not there was much criticism of radio, but she was the daddy, even though she was a woman. Just go with it. She said, worst programme of the year, Veg Talk. They wanted me to present it. Can you imagine?
That was your fault then.
Me and Mark walked out of that room with those people. We stood in the corridor and I said, I'm going to take the swearing out, obviously. I said, did that just actually happen? Or did I just imagine it? And he went, no, it happened. And we just looked at each other and burst out laughing. And that's why crap gets on the telly. Because those people in that room, the shiny faced people with a good degree from Oxbridge, they don't know what they're doing. They only occasionally get it right. Think about it. The BBC has had how many hit shows, Paul, since Strictly came on? Strictly's the last massive show. How many since then? 0. Because they don't know what they're doing.
Oh, right, I see. I don't really watch TV.
I don't watch. I'm not. When you say that, you always make out that I'm like some telly addict sat at home.
No, I don't.
Like shoving Pringles in my fat face with like a great big bloody and a 2-litre thing of Frosty Jack like that, going watching Ant and Dec.
Frosty Jack.
Frosty Jack. That was the big in the 90s. Right, so what was...
That was a challenge.
What alcohol was big in the 90s for you, Paul? I've got an absolute corker.
That's a good one,
and
actually.
I think they brought it back. Here's exciting news. I think they brought it back. When I say it, people are going to go, oh, yeah. I think they brought it back. Go on, what was yours?
Well, I was going to say Ruddles County.
Ruddles County. He looks like a Ruddles County.
But also Thunderbird wine.
Thunderbird? Bloody hell. I don't think that went anywhere. Right, I'll give you an alcohol that I drank a lot of in the 90s, and it went away, and I think they brought it back. Rolling Rock. Do you remember that?
I don't.
What do you mean you don't remember Rolling Rock? Come on.
Is it a beer?
Yeah. What do you mean? Is it a beer in a green bottle? I tucked away a bit of that in the 90s, and then it just disappeared.
Grolsch. Grolsch was big in the 90s, wasn't it?
I think Grolsch is 80s, mate. I think Grolsch, when Will I Be Famous, Matt and Luke, they had Grolsch bottle tops on their Doc Martens in the 80s. See, this is the problem with this lad. I have to keep him on a short leash because he'll stray off into the 80s or he'll stray into the 2000s if you're not careful. I keep it strictly 90s. Right, and here's the thing. We could have had a car for you. I'll be absolutely straight. We could have had a car for you this week at a video. And we had a bit of a heated debate, Mrs. Merton and Bernard Manning style, with Paul obviously as the Mrs. Merton and me as the Bernard Manning, being a funny man, a talented man. But I don't win. He wasn't a racist. Let's not get into that, but he wasn't. He was a very complicated man, Bernard. But I met him a couple of times.
Don't stick to the point.
This is the point that I'm making. We could have had a car, and it was made in the 90s, but the production ran into the 2000s. Now, if the car had remained exactly as it was in the 90s,
Buckfast.
I think we would have done it, wouldn't we? If it had been exactly the same, Paul.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So just answer the question.
Yes.
But
yes.
It got a bit of a facelift in 2000. They changed the headlights at the back. They changed the rear lights, and I thought, we got to be us. We can't. We are what we are. We am what we am. We can't do a car and we're not going to go, oh yeah, it's like the one they did in the 90s. We are big in the 90s. If the car is at 90s, we're not doing it. So can that bloke who suggested that we do a 1974 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow? No, you pillock. Dear
He's
God.
one of your friends, isn't he?
Oh, he was a friend. till he said that.
Until you said that.
I'll tell you what you should do. A 1974, which proves that he's not watching the channel, because he would have heard my numerous rants about keeping it 90s. Because I hate it when other YouTubers do that. They say they're going to do one thing, and then they just do random stuff.
Like me.
But you've never nailed your colours to a particular mast.
No, not
we
properly.
have. Big in the 90s, we have 90s cars. That's what we do. That's what we're about. And there's a reason, because 90s cars are interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
It's the last time, the 90s, that cars had a national identity. A German car looked German. A British car looked British. A French car looked bloody French.
The French carried on looking French for another 10 years or so, didn't they?
C6, which both of us really like the Citroen C6. Yeah, but the C5's a good example, because the C5 started out looking like a giant suppository.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of them. They're great. Not giant suppositories. Citroen C5s, Mark 1 C5s.
And then it got replaced with one that they said was Germanic.
An Audi. Just that looked like an Audi. But I don't blame car makers for following the public's fashion. If people decide that a certain thing's in and that's what they want, and you're a car maker and you don't want to go bankrupt, then that's what you've got to do, to a degree.
Yeah, it's what you've got to do. Although, there's quite a following for French cars, though, isn't there, really?
No. Yeah. There isn't. I've had CXs, XMs, C5s, Citroen AMIs. I've had a Citroen AX. I really like the little Citroen AX. It was great. I went to Back Mono, BAC, or Back Mono in Liverpool. The people who make that single-seater street legal car that, like, set the record at the Top Gear test track, but they made up some bullshit thing about ride height or something like that. But it was the fastest car around there. The Back Mono. People will know what I'm talking about. Got a Mount Tune Ford engine in it. Amazing car. I went there to see them lads because I know them. And I rocked up in this AX. And the designer came out and he was going, I love the AX! And he was all over it. And he wouldn't let me get in the building. He's going, and he showed me, he said, look, Steve, and he said, you see this, the door pockets in an AX, some people might know this. The door pockets in an AX are like on a sort of expanding, like a concertina type arrangement. And he said, do you know what that's for? Now, of course, the thing about the 2CV was everybody knows the fact about the 2CV. Two facts about the 2CV everybody knows. One, it only had one headlight when it came out. If you wanted two headlights, you had to pay extra. And two, it could drive across a ploughed field at 40 mile an hour
without breaking the eggs.
Without breaking the eggs. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, that's what people know. And he said the AX was designed so it could take a 20-litre wine container in each door pocket. So it had to have 40 litres of wine, but it would hold it. Instead of like it rattling around, it was on, there was some tension in the thing, the door pocket when you pulled it out, so it had all the wine and stopped the wine bottles from getting broken. And I like that. I like a French car, to be French. So I bought that car. This is a good one. You know. He knows the story. Tell the story.
Is it because it was somebody else? Oh, no.
You're not on camera. Come in a bit closer.
Yeah, it's because you're in the way. Is it because you was actually selling something else, and you bought this car just to get home in.
That is exactly what it was, Paul. I sold a bicycle because I like bicycles. We both like bicycles. I used to collect bicycles. I don't collect anything now, anything, apart from found objects. I've got a big cabinet at home, and if I find something out in the world, you know, like bagpuss.
Turn it into a prop.
You know, like bagpuss.
Yeah.
If I find something, so I've got a weird cabinet at home that looks like something where you're in someone's home and you realise they're a serial killer because you look inside this cabinet and there's all this weird, unrelated stuff, and you just think, this guy's a nutcase. So I've got like spoons and wacky, dirty, one-eyed dolls that have been left sat on a curb. I pulled into a curb on a motorbike and there was this wacky doll with one of its eyes missing sat on the curb, and I thought, got to take that home with me and put it in the cabinet with all the other weird shit.
That's probably cursed.
Yeah, probably. Anyway,
yeah, what
I sold a Rally Superb, a 1951 Rally Superb, to a nice doctor man from Wimbledon. You know Wimbledon? Where they play the Whiff-Waff? Where Vinnie Jones and all those other yobs used to play football. Anyway, the crazy gang, they were just yobs. That's not football. Football's like played by,
gentlemen.
Bobby Moore, that's football. George Best, football. Wimbledon, Vinnie Jones, what an arse, just a yob. Anyway.
Would you ever fight with Vinnie Jones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, okay. How much would that make at the box office?
Right, well, do you want me to tell the Citroen AX story, or do you want me to tell the celebrity boxing story? I'll quickly tell you the celebrity boxing story. I went to Blackpool to train to do celebrity boxing when Les Dennis and Ricky Gervais and all those other people were doing it. I got the call, will you do this boxing thing? I went, yeah. My granddad was a boxer, pro boxer. Will you go to Blackpool to train with this guy? I said, yeah. Went to Blackpool, train with this guy. He said to me, John, take Steve 3 rounds sparring. Put the head guard on, put the thingy on, put the thing that protects your gentleman's area on. In I got, 1-1. The guy's going, Michael, the trainer's going, Steve, stick your jab out. I'm like that, jabbing. Stick your jab out like this. And this guy, John's absolutely leathering me. I'm just getting, it's just like a constant barrage of leather just smacking me in the face. And I'm thinking, I want to stay away from this fella. I don't want to get near him. Every time I get near him, he hits me. And I'm quite agile. This was a while ago. Quite agile, so I'm moving around. He's going, stick your jab out, stick your jab out. 3 rounds he battered before this fella. I don't think I hit him once. So I get changed. He said, get changed, Steve. Come and see me in the office. Oh, you've done really well. Come next Monday. So I'm on the way back driving. I get a phone call. Hey, Steve, it's Michael for the gym in Blackpool. I said, all right, okay. He said, got some good news and bad news. I said, what's the bad news? He said, you're not doing this. You're not fighting this guy. Would not tell me who it was going to be. It was like they wouldn't tell you. You're not fighting this guy. I said, what's the good news? He said, you're way too durable for this guy. I told John to beat you up. He said, and he battered you for 3 rounds, and you were still going at him. I was still going forward after being absolutely smack silly. And they said, no. He said, I've rung him and said, no, don't put this lad in with Steve. Steve will kill him.
You're like a small vicious dog, aren't you?
Like a Jack Russell or a proper Staffordshire Bull Terrier, most of which are a lot smaller than the real ones. They're fierce as well. Anyway, the Citroen AX story. I sold this Rally Superb to a man from Wimbledon, and back in the day, you used to be able to get on a Virgin train and take a bicycle for free. So I said to this bloke called me and said, who bought it on eBay, he said, oh, it's going to cost me a ton of money to get it down here, Steve, delivered. I said, how much? And he said, £180 or something. I said, I'll do it for 100 quid. So I got a train with the Rally Superb. Rod brakes, 3-speed Sturmey Archer gears, enclosed chain. Great design, the Rally Superb. Very handsome bicycle. White grips. Rod brakes, obviously, like that don't work if it's raining. If it's raining, forget it. So many people must have got killed on those rod brake bicycles back in the day because they didn't work. Anyway, Put it on the train, went down there. I didn't realise, because I'm a northerner, how far Wimbledon is from Euston Station. I thought it was all dead close. Oh, Wimbledon? It's near London, isn't it?
No.
Not really. Anyway, I cycled all the way there. There's a massive hill going into Wimbledon as well. This old bike that weighs as much as a BSA 650. This whole rally, massive steel tubes on it. Got there, and then I'd looked online for a ticket, and it was really expensive. So what I'd done is put a few bids on cars, really the cheapest cars on eBay. Won a Citroen AX for 80 quid, road legal and everything. Went to Acton to pick it up. Bloke comes and picks me up, brand new Jeep, recognises me. What do you want this car for? It was my mother, she died. And I said, cheaper than a train ticket. And he went, really? I went, yeah. I said, the train ticket was about 110 quid, but 80 quid for the car. So I set off from Acton, got up to the M1, went to the Ace Cafe, near Wembley, the Ace, sat down, had egg and chips, heading for the M1, got on the M1, going up the slip road, second, third, fourth, went for fifth, looked down, 4 speed, 4 speed.
What year was this?
What, the car, or when I was doing it?
And you was doing it?
When I was doing it, maybe 10 years ago.
Oh, right.
The car wasn't 10 years old.
No.
The car was older. The car was it was on a H, so what year is that? 1990. Yeah. We could have it on the show, a Citroen AX. If you've got one, get in touch. I love them.
Yeah.
There'll only be nice things said about it, because I think they're absolutely fantastic. I couldn't stop driving the thing when I got back, and I had a Jag.
Why the brakes don't work? Are there any cars we don't like from the 90s?
Loads, millions that we don't like.
We'd still drive them though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course we would.
Definitely. It doesn't matter whether we like them or not.
I was going to say, Paul, I was going to say the thing that we don't like is cars that are neither good nor bad. But that's not true, because we had that Toyota Starlet on that belonged to those Yorkshiremen.
Slough it. Don't slough it.
They were such good lads. We got there. I couldn't understand a word they said. That's come on out with like Toyota, like goes up there, like up road, go up road there, like when gets at pit, like we just nodded. We were just like this. They were really sound lads, and they let us drive the car. And that Starlet for me was the epitome of competent mediocrity. Do you not think, Paul? Everything it did pretty good, but it didn't do anything exceptionally, did it?
Yeah, it did. Work.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those cars that would probably never break down.
Well, it was in phenomenal condition, to say that it was a much used car that was, what, 20...
It was a bit dented, wasn't it?
4 years old. There's a bit of a dent in it. The story that went with that car, which I don't think we told at the time, was that the gentleman who let us borrow it, and thank you, sir, and I hope we'll do business with you again, he sat near this old boy at football at Huddersfield Town. He'd sit, that was how he knew him, because the old boy sat like 2 rows down on the right. All right, Norman. I think it was Norman, wasn't it? All right, Norman. But he'd say it like, all right, Norman, all right, in that weird sort of like Vulcan type language that they speak in Yorkshire. So he'd say that to this old fella, and then he found out that the poor old fella had passed on, and the family were going to scrap the car. They thought it was this is what people think, innit, mate? They thought, oh, that old car's scrap, no one will want it. It was a Toyota Starlet, and it was in phenomenal driving condition, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It drove like a new car. But they thought it was scrap, and it absolutely wasn't. It was great. And people do go on and on about, I mean, the Three Amigos went on about Toyotas, didn't they? You can't kill a Hilux, Toyota's the most. And there is a lot of truth in that, isn't there? We know now, we know. At the time, my boss, John Bentley, hello, John Bentley here. This week, I'm going to be testing spectacles. Look, These are fantastic. I can see everything now. My old boss, John, he barred us from using the term build quality on TG because he said that build quality could only reveal itself with time and use. So there was absolutely no point mentioning build quality on a new car. They all seemed to be built well when they were new. We would find out whether they were built well as the years passed by. And that blinking Toyota, Paul, was fantastic, wasn't it?
I think build quality ended up meaning something else after a while, which is how it feels, whether it feels tactile or not, which a lot of new cars do. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stay in one piece.
Yeah, sort of. I don't really like terms being corrupted like that. It's one of those things that I disagree with Stephen Fry on.
Is it?
One of quite a few things that I disagree. Although I've just read his book about myths and legends, and it's very good. So, you know, it's not that I don't like the guy, but he's a big fan of words constantly changing over time because it's just about communication and we shouldn't stay.
Oh, yeah. Rather than insisting that we use the proper words for a particular thing.
Yeah.
Charles Brandreth's like that as well, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah. Although he did say, and I thought this was a very good point, that he hates it when people use the word invite when they mean invitation.
Right. Here's what North American types, because my missus is a North American type. I think we mentioned this.
I thought she was Canadian.
Yeah. This is the problem I have. There are 3 countries in North America. The United States, Canada, and here's the one that people always get wrong. Mexico is in North America. Yeah! And there's like Central America between North America and South America.
It's all America.
It's all America. Anyway, so I'll be over there and then she'll say, should we bring, like we'll be going somewhere, she'll say, should we bring whatever? And I still think, what do you mean bring? What do you bring? Oh, you mean take? They say bring when they mean take. Even educated types like her, because she's like, you know, very intelligent and sort of university educated and all that, but they say bring. So do you know what I do? Because I'm a hypocrite, I just go with it. I just go, yeah, let's bring this thing to the place that we're going to. Forget the word take. Let's just imagine no one had invented it and we needed to use bring for when we take something over here and then we bring it back. Let's just use the same word instead of having a different word for the two things.
White lightning.
White lightning?
Did you ever drink that?
I think you're getting confused. White lightning is what they brew in like the deep south. You want some of this white lightning, boy?
I'm sure that's what it's called. The proper industrial cider.
Well, in the 90s, there was like hooch. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought that was an 80s thing.
No, I think hooch was 90s.
Must have been right at the beginning then.
Probably.
I remember lots of people I knew having Jack Daniels in the 90s. Not me though.
This is what I have to deal with. Jack Daniels have been around since the 1890s, mate.
Yeah, I know, but it was fashionable in the UK, in pubs in the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
I think.
We actually had a chance to drive a car from the 1890s. We thought that would be hilarious. But unfortunately, the opportunity passed just because of like people needed to be somewhere else. And we thought, well, we'll go and get that car some other time. And now I've just given the game away because we'll be going, hi, welcome to Big in the 90s, the 1890s. And me and him will be dressed up in all the gear because I love dressing up. Paul's not that keen on it. It's me. In case you were thinking, what is it with you two are dressing up? It's me mainly. But it's because we did it back in the day. Look at the old stuff in YouTube. I was always getting dressed up. For instance, this week's car was meant to be a Ford Scorpio. You know, the ugly one, the fish-faced one from the end, the last one. Now, when I did that car, on TG back in the day. Yes, I was the one who test drove the Scorpio on TG. I had the first go in it. I went to Paris to drive it. And I got all dressed up. I wore 21 all purple metal flake Doc Martin boots. So when I got into the car, I just had a grey shirt on, not dissimilar to the one that I'm wearing underneath here. And when I got out of the car, all you'd see me in was a grey shirt and a black suit jacket. When I got out in the car, I was wearing purple paisley leggings and 21 old purple metal flake Doc Martens. And I walked around the front of the car and I went, I don't know what people are talking about. I think it looks great. Do you know what? Here's a good car-related topic to discuss here right now. Paul,
hello.
Do you think that some cars have changed their image in the public imagination in the time that's passed since the 90s? I.e., cars like, and I'm thinking of two cars specifically here, the Ford Scorpio that we just mentioned and the Fiat Multipla.
Yes, I do. I think the Fiat Multipla doesn't look as ugly now as it used to do.
I never thought it looked ugly. I thought it looked radical and different, and I loved it, and I still do. I nearly bought a Multipla about a year ago. I went to test. Yeah, cup of tea. I went to drive it. Very nice man in Bolton who put some nice wheels on it and generally looked after it, done a lot of miles. Do you know what I found about the Fiat Multipla, Paul?
It was practical.
It's impractical.
Oh, right.
Too wide for British roads. Because we test drove it around Bolton and we kept having to come to a stop because it was too wide to get through where we needed to go. Because, of course, it famously had that 3 abreast seating, didn't it?
I'm used to a wide vehicle.
I don't like cars. I like big cars, but I find them impractical in Britain. Right, so I'm going over the ocean in a few weeks' time to see my significant other, who chooses to live 4,500 miles away from me. Paul, can you think of a reason why a woman who I'm allegedly in a relationship with would choose to live on the other side of the world?
I could think of a few.
Can you think of a few? And when we're over there, we drive round in what was a lovely mother who has passed. A lovely mother's car, which is a Lincoln Town car. If you don't know what a Lincoln Town car is, look it up. It's a big ass automobile. It's absolutely fantastic. 32 valve V8 engine. It does about 9 to the gallon.
They don't have narrow roads now, do they?
And it's on bags. It's on bags. So you go into. It's not been put on bags because she's like into the sort of lowrider lifestyle. You know, she's not wearing a red flannel shirt and like sort of a do-rag. I think I might have got off topic here and confused a few of our older watchers. But she's not a Chicano lowrider. You know, she don't roll easy on the east side. It's on bags from you, a Lincoln Town car. But it's like, I drive it. Well, I love driving it when I'm over there. I drive it like this. I'm out the window. Doo, doo, doo. Snoop Dogg on the cassette. Get a Snoop Dogg cassette in there. 93 Lincoln Town car, baby. I'm going to do a big in the 90s when I'm there. We'll have to find a way to have you here in Rochdale and me in Vancouver, and I'm like smoking around in a 93 town car, and we can interact in some way. I'm sure technology can make that happen.
I can figure out something.
93 Lincoln Town car coming soon. Big in the 90s is going international, Paul.
Oh yeah, the Scorpio. Is that as ugly now as it used to be? Some people must have liked it. Can't say as I ever did.
The Scorpio is a good example of an American car maker, and I really am in some danger of banging on about this way too much, but because it's not you lot, big in the 90s viewers, we know that Ford is an American company. But if you went out onto the streets of Britain and said to people, can you name an American car maker who sells cars in the UK? They'd be going, instead of just going Ford or General Motors, people genuinely didn't know that Vauxhall was bought by General Motors in 1925 and that Ford has always been an American company. And I think the Scorpio is an example of an American car maker trying to make Europeans drive an American-styled car. The styling was very similar. If you look at something like a Buick Park Avenue or a Ford LTD from that era, similar styling, and not to our tastes. Look at their version of the Mondeo. Why couldn't they have a Mondeo like we had? I love a Mark 1 Mondeo, don't you? I love the styling. It's fantastic. All those ovals and all that oval stuff. Great looking car.
The facelift one.
No, I like the Mark 1. That's why I said the Mark 1, Paul, not the facelift one.
The facelift Mark 1.
No, the Mark 1, year 1. I really like it.
And the K-Reg.
But the Americans couldn't be doing with it. They had to have like more chrome and more sedan-y, more sort of 3-box. God, we had an argument last time I banged on about that, didn't we? 3-box cars. Engine bit, people bit, stuff bit, 3 boxes. Europe, 1 box. Everything in 1 box. There's the difference.
Eurobox.
Eurobox, yeah.
It's the term.
Right, has everybody gone away or something? Or when do we stop doing this? How long have we been going on for?
An hour and 7 minutes, yeah. Well,
I don't know, do people have questions?
Yeah, probably.
Or are they just randomly writing nasty stuff about me?
Should we have a quick look? I mean, that's
a lot of comments,
it is, yeah, it's an awful lot, yeah.
What is wrong with you people?
I could skip through a couple of them.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Paul just made me do this.
I didn't make you do anything.
He didn't make me do anything. It's just, I know. It's just, but it's true that I don't know what I'm doing here.
But you don't need to know what you're doing. Yeah.
I'm making the tea. That's what I'm doing.
There's a spoon there.
There's none of this pretending that we're having tea like bloody Guy Martin and Post Townsend and all these other people.
Guy Martin, no. He's always got a cup in his hand, hasn't he? There were, I did actually spot quite a few, and quite a few were the regular people, such as Dick Dastardly and Windy Miller, and Mark the Vicar. Hello, Mark the Vicar. Tom Lanigan.
Is Mark an actual vicar?
Oh, a proper vicar.
Is he?
Yeah.
I've got some vicar-related stories from the 90s, if you like.
Big Terry. I must be using the mice PT bags. No.
Mice?
Yeah, did I not tell you about that?
Yeah, the mice got in the tea.
Yeah, that's over there.
So we used it to make stunt tea when we're pretending it's beer. Just so it's not wasted.
Were you drunk somewhere?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh dear. That explains a lot. If there aren't any questions, it's just abuse, Paul.
Matthew C4 seems to quite like it. Thank you.
Do you want to hear that vicar-related 90s story?
Yep.
Right, so...
Right, yeah, that's a good point, right. Partly down to the scrappage schemes, 90s cars have become classics.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, because a lot more disappeared all in one go. A lot of good cars.
For no reason, good cars.
For no reason, yeah. And all those cars that were bought then are all scrapped. That one's
so,
mine.
here's the 90s vicar-related story. The people I work with on TG would often go off to try and get a better gig somewhere else. Not up here, no. In that London or abroad. Like 2 of my mates now are working in Dubai on telly there. Trying to get a car show going over there. Yeah. So I can get out of here doing stuff with them, talking to you lot on the internet, and go off to Dubai and make a ton of money doing a real car show with proper people. No, I don't want to do that. Can you imagine going to somewhere where like you're not allowed to whistle on? Can you imagine how much trouble I'd get in somewhere like that? I wouldn't last a week, would I? There'd be a thing, British man jailed. For shouting or like wearing a wig or a dress or something like that. I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't last a week. Anyway.
Pop over, be yourself.
One of the lads went to ITV that I used to work with, and he was working on a game show. And he said, the teams of people on this game show are all from like different walks of life. So we've got like a doctor's team, we've got a lorry driver's team, we've got a checkout assistants team, we've got a biker's team, except we haven't. Do you want to do it? Can you get some of your mates to come down with the bikers team? You like quizzes. I do like quizzes. I'm Billy flipping Quiz. Nearly said something else. I said, I'll come down. He said, can you get colourful people? I knew what he meant. He meant like big badass dudes covered in tattoos, like long hair, beards, like him, but butcher, a lot butcher. Imagine that sort of butched up, right? So I got these lads to come down with me. But he said, we've got a couple of people, bikers. One of them is a vicar. He's called, and I went, yeah, I know this guy. Now, people who remember when there was this vicar in performance bikes who used to like pull wheelies. He was like wheeling for Christ and all that sort of, you know, he was like, he'd sort of, you know, one of those vicars that whatever, they decided they're going to be like the football vicar or they're going to be like the boxing vicar. But this guy decided he was the biking vicar. And there's a tradition of that. There's a rich tradition of it going back to, and I've got a poster of this guy at home in my laundry cupboard for some reason, because I put it there. The Reverend Bill Shergold, who started the 59 Club in London to help like disadvantaged youths and all that by getting them into motorbikes. Yeah, there was a time in this country when they thought that the way to stop young men from stabbing each other to death was to get them into motorbikes. Yeah, and it worked, and the 59 Club was massively successful. Anyway, this guy was kind of the 90s version of that. He was the biking vicar pulling wheelies for Christ. But he's a bit of an annoying knob. Anyway, not Bill Shergold. I never met that guy. I met the people who took over, Father Scott and Father Dennis and some of the other guys that ran the 59 Club in London. They were sound, them lot. But this 90s guy in a Fireblade, he had a Fireblade and he was a vicar. They said, we've already got him on the team, so we're stuck with him. But then it's just you and your mates. So I said, right, okay. So we're pulling up outside the TV studios. I've collected all these like badass dudes from various places like Leicester and Leeds and whatever, and we've gone down there. And we end up going down in this guy's Jeep, and he's got a massive American Lincoln Blackwoods Navigator, whatever it is. It's got its own postcode, this thing. It's massive. And it's got stickers in the back window saying, touch this truck and I will break everybody. It's got all that stuff on it. And the registration plate is something like F off or something. It was something terrible, right? You really seriously want to mess with this vehicle. So we're pulling up outside the studio and he comes around the corner on his Fireblade and he sees us. So he decides he's going to do a big old wheelie. So he gets this Fireblade in a big old wheelie and then he runs out of space, so he has to like put the wheel down and he locks the front wheel and goes clattering into a lot of cars. I think he broke his wrist. But he was like, oh, and we were going, dear God, what's, you know, we just arrived and this mad thing happened. But he was going, oh, well, the Lord moves in mysterious ways. Oh, I think I've broken my wrist. Never mind. The love of the Lord heals all. So I was thinking, what a knob. Why did he do that? But people are people, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's my vicar story.
Well, that's quite an interesting one. I've not heard that one before as well.
He's not heard. There's one of the stories he hasn't heard. Some of them start coming around. They're like, you know.
They will eventually, won't they, surely?
There's a lot of stories. I've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad.
So somebody did actually ask on the on Facebook how you and I got to know each other. Which,
well, tell the story.
Well, I thought everybody already knew that one, but that was basically because I had an MGF for sale, and you messaged me about it. Came to see it, liked it, paid a deposit.
Hold on. An MGTF.
An MGTF.
Designed by St. Peter of Stevens.
He paid his deposit, buggered off, and then it went wrong.
Yeah, but it didn't stop us from being friends, which is good.
Well, without it going wrong, you'd have just driven away and we probably would have never met you.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Mm. Yeah.
Because the amount of times you kept coming back.
Yeah, we kept going back and we kept trying to fix it. And then it's sort of, and then I thought, I like this guy. And I always had fun when I came up. We'd drink tea, we'd eat biscuits, we'd talk crap for hours. And I just thought, yeah, I get on with this guy. And people kept telling me, they kept saying, you should do something on YouTube. You should do like, and I was thinking, I don't want to do that. Because I was thinking old school. I was thinking, I don't want to do that. I'm a proper telly guy. I've done real telly for like the last 25 years. Increasingly less in recent years, yes. But that's because I'd been on the radio and directing television programmes and producing television programmes with other people in them, like Brendan Coogan or Jason Bradbury, not Julia Bradbury, Jason Bradbury, off of The Gadget Show, like John Bentley. So I've been directing and producing telly instead of being on it. While at the same time, sometimes thinking, I'm better than whoever's doing this show that I was directing. It should be me presenting it. At least I can remember the bloody facts that you're supposed to remember. Instead of ballsing it up 14 times. Because back in the day on TG, my nickname, believe it or not, was Knobhead. No. My nickname was One Take.
One Take?
Yeah. Oh, One Take. Get One Take to do it. And I realised that sometimes you get a gig over somebody else, because I used to travel a lot. If you watch the old TGs on YouTube, I was always abroad, because even though I am a bit of a nightmare, once they switch the camera on, I'm a safe pair of hands. I won't F it up. If we're on the other side of the world, and I was frequently, if we're in Korea, in the Korean countryside, and the sun's going down, and the director's going, oh God, we've got to finish the sight, I'd be like, calm down, mate. Do this, then I'll do that. Then I'll walk from here to there. I'll walk around the car. You've seen me doing walk rounds on the car. I can remember loads of stuff in my head, right?
Yeah, so that all just pops out in one go.
Yeah, that was helpful. That was helpful, and I realised that it got me jobs that other people didn't get, because they couldn't be trusted to remember all the stuff you had to remember, and they'd run out of time, they'd run out of light, they'd run out of whatever, patience, whatever. But yeah, that's how we met. I bought a dodgy car of him that didn't work properly, and then we kept trying to fix it, and we decided we liked each other, and I thought my nickname was One Take. But my nickname with my mates now is Big in the 90s. That's what they call me. Where's Big in the 90s? Hey, Big in the 90s, what do you want to drink? That's my nickname. So I thought, why not call it Big? I mean, in some ways, it's one of those things that sounds cruel, but is actually because we're mates. And I'll give you an example of that. I'm in Moscow for the Champions League final, and I get in a lift at the Luzhniki Hotel, which was built for the Moscow Olympics. And it's a tourist hotel in Moscow now, even though it's in the middle of nowhere. And I get in a lift, and there's two likely lads in there from our part of the world. And I'm with two people who are both southerners from the southeast of England. Not from London, but from the nice bit round London, like Bishop Stortford or Princess Risborough, or one of those other places that you see on a sign and you think, I wonder what it's like there. I'll tell you what it's like. Generic. They've got a Waitrose, they've got an M&S, and every house is literally worth £1 million. Right? That's what that part of the world's like.
And they're grey as well.
Yeah, and they're nice people. They're decent people, but they're not like us, right? So I get in the lift with these two, and these two likely lads, looking a bit like the Gallaghers, except one of them's quite fat. And we get in, and the lift starts going up to the 34th floor. It's, whatever it is, massive skyscraper. Starts going up. And these two lads, one of them went, you're him, aren't you? And I went, yeah.
Him?
Yeah, they just went, one of them went, don't interrupt me. One of them went, you're him, aren't you? Because the timing's important. And I went, yeah. And the other one went, but fatter. And then there was another pause like that, and the other one went, and balder. And then the three of us just all started laughing, and then the lift stopped and they got out. And then the lift doors closed, and the woman and the bloke who was with them going, those men were so rude, I can't believe how rude. And I said, no. It's not like that. That's what we're like. That's if you actually sort of like somebody, that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
You sort of have a bit of a go at them, you know, like that. Because it's a sort of sign. If they genuinely didn't like me, they just would have ignored me. They wouldn't have said anything.
Or they'd have been nice.
No.
No.
I don't think people like that nice in their whole life. No, somebody said to me that in America, Chicago's like that. If you go to Chicago, people are like that there. They like say, all right, and then say a horrible word, which I shouldn't really say on here because it'll upset Paul and my mother if she's watching this. They say that as a greeting, you know, like, hello, blah, blah. And they don't mean, it means friend, really. Doesn't sound like it, but it means it. Boston as well, apparently, the States is like that as well.
Yeah.
Like Manchester, but not quite as much fighting.
I think we could possibly thank Boaty as well for talking you into a lot of the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Because you was very much thinking it's probably not the way ahead.
Well, I still don't think it's the way ahead.
Well, it hasn't proven itself so far, has it?
Well, I'm still doing this because I enjoy it, right? We're not getting any money. We're not getting any traction. Nobody's watching these videos except a few people, dedicated people, who started watching them at the start. It's the same people. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I like this guy. I like spending time with him. I like going around and meeting all the people that we've met. We've met some fantastic people because the world generally is full of arseholes, isn't it? There's no shortage of them out there. But doing this big in the 90s thing, when I say a lot of people, we've met a lot of men. We've met a lot of men of a certain age.
Yeah.
We've had one young person, haven't we, really?
Who was that?
That lad with the Subaru.
Oh, Carl.
Yeah,
Yes.
so when I say one young person, how old would he be? Early 30s, something like that.
No, he's younger than that.
Everyone else has been solidly 40s, 50s, 60s men. That's been it. I can't think of any other YouTube channel, unless it's like gay interest, that's got fewer. See, that was a bit Stephen Fry. It's got fewer viewers than us. Why is this condensation being so problematic?
Well, it's the nature of condensation, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, to be problematic. Yeah, so thank you, Borty, for persuading me to do it. Not because we've got anything out of it, other than enjoyment, which is great. I mean, you know, that's I've spent my entire working life, apart from the bit at the beginning where I actually worked on building sites for 2.5 years, and it was proper, difficult, dangerous, hard work. It's quite well paid, but it was all those things. I spent the rest of my life trying to avoid having to do that. And it's been good and bad. And this bit is good because I enjoy it. And I like this guy, and I like all the stuff that you lot write on the bottom of our videos, apart from that one knobhead who kept writing the same thing at the bottom of every video. And if he wants to see me outside, bring it on. I'll be your Huckleberry boy. Why would you do that? If you don't like something, just I don't spend my time on the internet going. If you do that, it's a sign, right, that you need to get a life. Just find something you enjoy, like we have. Just do that. Find something, anything.
You don't need to tell them that. They know. These ones know.
I know. These people know that. Yeah. That's great.
You're the good ones.
You're the good people. Yeah. That's what I say. Because here's the other thing. You'll never find us going, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. All that stuff that people put on videos before the videos even started. How the hell would you know that you want to subscribe to something before you've watched it? Why would you do that? We're never going to do that because, as I said, we'd rather have you lot, a few knowledgeable people who appreciate our bullshit, than a load of idiots who just put nonsense. Here's 10 90s cars you never heard of. Number 1, Vauxhall Vitra. All that sort of stuff. Wait, those people. They can bugger off.
Oh, there. Look.
Oh, there's the brick.
The brick's
Go on, hit
there.
me with the brick. Oh.
Actually, when you hit someone with a brick, and you shouldn't do that, it wouldn't make that kind of noise. You need more of a...
No, don't hit someone with a brick.
No. Unless it's one like that, which can bend.
Oh, is that an actual question?
There's lots of questions there. Which one?
Hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscription.
Don't forget to F off.
Don't forget to F off. That's a bit harsh.
No, it's a
See, the thing is, I know, and the thing is, if you are going to write stuff at the bottom of the videos, you think I'm bothered. Do you think that I'm bothered? Right? I am not bothered.
He does read all the comments, though.
I do read quite a lot of them. I read the top ones because then that's a consensus, because the ones that have been commented on or liked on, the ones that other people have picked up on. And we do, here's the other thing that we like. We really like it when you lot correct us and put us right on things, because the internet is awash with incorrect information. It's just so contradictory, a lot of the stuff that's out there. And what I found, Paul, is that because the people who like big in the 90s are a certain sort of person, a lot of you lot have worked in the motor industry and in the motor trade. The motor industry makes the cars, the motor trade sells and services the cars. You've worked in those industries and you were actually there at the coalface. And sometimes I've seen people put, I sold a lot of those into the fleet business back in the day, and I can tell you that those Vectras were very popular or whatever.
Not all.
We love all that. We love that kind of, I was there, I had one of those, I did 40,000 miles in it, it was garbage, or it was great. We love all of that. And so, you know, we do it, we that's who I'm thinking of, is watching it when we're doing it. We're thinking that you are like us, that it's men of a certain age that are interested in this sort of thing, and that's why it's structured in the way that it is.
And the trouble is, you get information from the internet, and because people put the incorrect information on the internet, you regurgitating the
Paul,
incorrect information.
It gets compounded. The incorrect stuff gets repeated over and over again. Like, and this is not 90s.
Have you got a favourite incorrect fact?
About cars?
Yeah. Only from the 90s, though.
Only from the 90s. An incorrect fact about cars from the 90s. Not off the top of my head. No, I haven't.
I like the Bob Holness thing, but that's not the 90s, is it? Or was it?
Bob Holness?
Yeah, you know. But
I'll have a pee, please, Bob. What's it was 90s, wasn't it? No, Blockbusters. That was Bob Holness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stuart McConey thing.
Stuart McConey started it as a rumour in the NME, the New Musical Express, to see if it would gain any traction. And that's pre-internet that he did that. But then when the internet came along, all that stuff got repeated. So...
yeah, I bet he's really pleased with that.
Well, the one from the 80s that's the best one is the Starion, isn't it?
Oh, what was supposed to be, they couldn't pronounce the word stallion.
Yeah, like a Benny Hill sketch from the 80s, couldn't pronounce the word stallion, and so the Americans wrote it down as Starion. Not true. It's all to do with constellations of stars. Star, Orion, Starion. Yeah. Shall we stop now?
Yeah, all right. Bye.
Wow. I won't want to have sex with him, would you? Well, I might, but not if he stops. Not if he just stops like that. I think I'd find that most alarming.
We have done an hour and a half, which...
have we?
Yeah, an hour and a half, yeah. 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Right, we're sorry there wasn't a video, but here's the thing.
This is longer.
Here's the thing, right? Big in the 90s relies on people coming forward with cars, and we need the right kind of people, you, right? So people have said, oh, you should get in touch with the Owners Club, you should do this. That opens a portal to hell of nutcases and mithering ninnies. The people we borrowed the cars off, you knew who you are. Everyone's been great. We rock up, even them lads in Yorkshire were great. We rock up, we take the car away, we don't do anything bad, we're gone for like an hour, we don't go mental in it, we bring it back, we all have a lovely chat and a brew, and then we go off and make a video. The problem with getting involved with other people through owners clubs and all that is that they want us. One guy wanted us to print out these documents that he'd made up that acknowledged the condition that the car was in before we took it. They're just all weirdness. We do this for a laugh. We're good lads. We know there's plenty of good lads out there as well. If you've got your 90s car and you want us to rock up and drive it, or better you know what we haven't done? Ask people to bring stuff here, like a lot of YouTubers do. Or bring it to us, they say. No, we'll come to you. But only if, this is one of the things that we set out at the start, only if you're in an hour's drive of Manchester. Now, I'll tell you why. There's 7.5 million people within an hour of Manchester. Surely to goodness, we've got enough 90s cars among 7.5 million people. Surely.
Surely.
Because we're not getting paid.
No.
And we haven't got the time. Paul's got a family. I've got all sorts of hobbies that I need to keep up with that you don't need to know about.
Dangerous territory there.
But that's why it is the way it is. We just want to borrow the cars off the good people, which is you lot. We treat them with respect. You know what we do. We're good lads. We don't mess about. And let us have a go in your car. Particularly if you've got, can we just end by saying a couple of cars that I'm particularly keen to drive, Paul?
Hang on. I'll refresh. Oh, sorry. No, carry on. Yeah, go on.
Right. Have you got a couple? Because I've got a couple, have a think. The two cars that I would really like to drive, Multipla and a G-Whiz. A G-Whiz, yeah. We want a G-Whiz because Bamba Gascoigne had a G-Whiz.
Yeah.
And G-Whizzes were made in the 90s, so we want to find out if there's one in the sort of northwest and the other one, Multipla. I really want to, it's ages. Well, I had to go in that one that I test drove in Bolton. I didn't buy it. I almost bought it. I want to know if I was right, if it is, because I really like those. But it's got to be an original Multipla. Not the blandized one, not the one that they made look like a
Blandized
Toyota. The proper bug-eyed job. The ugly one. I love them. What about you?
Renault Laguna.
Laguna and
another French one, I think. We don't need any more Mercedes for the moment. Let's not have a Mercedes for our next car.
what about an AX?
An AX, yeah?
Yeah, you've got an AX, that would be, and it doesn't need to be a GTI. In fact, if it's the absolute, and they're always blue, they're always blue, metallic blue, the absolute bog standard AX, that would be fantastic. But any 90s cars, literally anything and everything. We really appreciate the support that you lot have given to the channel. You could tell some other people about it, so we can have some more viewers.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. We don't want to beg for more views, but you can. You do it. And we'll be back with a video of a Mercedes, we think, next week, or possibly a Ford.
So thank you very much for watching.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you very much indeed. Should I feed you your blue ribbon?
Yeah, because otherwise we'll be getting mice, and we don't want that. They've already had to go to the tea bags.
Right, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
We'll see you on another live stream as well at some point, because this has been great. Bye-bye for now. Bye.